Profit power, it is time to increase your profit and not just get caught up with that vanity stuff of increasing your turnover and telling everyone how you're a hero, increasing your revenue. Let's find some cash. Phil, maximising margins.
Yeah, mate, and this has come out of the recent headlines and bits and pieces that I've been reading around whilst inflation is back in its box under that 3%, currently at 2.5, nudging slightly up from, I believe it was 2.2. And I believe it's the banks go around and survey business owners' intentions. And I did learn recently that one of the big banks, the biggest of them all, the Reserve Bank, also survey business owners. Didn't know that. Don't know where they find time to do that when they're in their meetings doing God knows what. But there's a lot of feedback coming from business owners that there are inflation intentions out there, which would suggest that business owners are still looking to recover, and there's still talk of a lot of recovery going on out there, and the way to get through it is to increase our prices. And that got me thinking, surely there's got to be other ways because we're smarter than that. And we just ultimately want business owners to make more profit, which will make more cash, and it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to bloom and have a widget. Instead of selling it for $100, we're going to sell it for $110. We'll be smarter than that.
All right, well, let's dig into some ways to make some more profits and therefore some more cash.
Oh, mate, I think a lot of it comes back to what we are big proponents of, and that is data. You've got to know your numbers. And in a business that sells a lot of different products, you might have, say, 5 things, and they all sell for different price points, and they've all got different inputs of labor cost and material cost, which means they're all going to have their own unique gross profit. Some might be higher gross profit than others. And when we're just looking at one line on our profit and loss report that says sales, and then we've got less cost of goods sold and then gross profit, that's a mix of everything we've sold. And we really do need to dig in and understand which are our top 1, 2, or 3 performing products. And on really 2 different metrics. What are our top performing products on gross profit? And what are our top performing products on volume? So what are we actually selling most of? And are we selling the products in volume that are our highest GP? And really starting to understand why. So if products that have got a higher gross profit are our lowest performing products, well then what do we need to do to turn it into our higher volume products? Or are the products that we've got the most volume on, have got the lowest gross profit, how can we increase the gross profit on those and maintain the same amount of volume? Understanding all of that is going to have an impact directly to the bottom line.
I think one of the first things that I'd point out is that I think Kiwi people, when we work with them, what we notice is that they're really scared to test the market.
Yeah.
So when we dig into, how did you come up with your pricing, it's normally, oh, well, I've always had my prices like this, or I can't, be any more expensive, because they'll go to my competitors and there's all these random little answers. And then we'll say, do you get many people saying no? And maybe they don't even know about your competitor. But in your head, you've decided that that's how you price. But pricing comes back to what somebody is willing to pay, right? So it's what they perceive the value you provide to them, and then they will tell you by whether they will pay the money or not, whether it is worth it. And it's not for us to really decide, what they decide the value to be. The market decides that. So we can put the price out there, but you probably find that, a lot of Kiwi business owners are actually sitting on profit if they just set a higher number when they went to sell their thing. But we get stuck in this maybe I can't, or then you'll get beaten up, like price gouging and like profit, these businesses ripping people off. But, a lot of the times it can actually, having profit can allow you to do cooler shit in your business, launch different things that you do want to be doing, simplify down, pay people more, all sorts of different things. So there's nothing wrong with it.
No, absolutely not. Speaking of value, there's going to be a degree of trust there. And I think one tactic that I've understand does work, and I've seen other businesses do it, is what's referred to as the old mystery box. We enjoy a bit of a mystery box, don't we, Luke? And we've had success from clients where they go, you know what? We've got a whole heap of different product out here. It might be stuff that sells well or slow-moving stuff. overall we've got a lot of inventory, and if we can put it all into a box and it's a mystery and create some kind of hype around it, people will buy the box not knowing what's going in it, and the average gross profit that we're going to get on each box is going to be higher than if we'd sold those products individually. So that's a tactic. I've seen, I think it's one of the candle companies do it recently, the GGO team. They've done it successfully. And there's been ads from other online retailers who do the same thing. And you wouldn't see these people do it consistently or every now and again if it didn't work.
I think the bit that we often lack is creating the demand. So we're so fearful that we can't create demand, therefore we can't test what the market will actually pay for something. And a good way to think about this is that when a concert sells out, people can sell tickets for more than what the venue or the act had them listed for, because the demand is so, saturated that people go, well, I want to go and I missed out, therefore, like, what do you want me to pay? And that can work in reverse too, where they set prices and people go like, I'm not paying to go to that. But what the first example tells us is that the market is saying, well, actually, I still see that ticket price as more valuable than what the act or the event or host thought that it was worth, because I'm willing to pay for it.
Well, the latest show that I've seen pop up in the feed that's got a bit of publicity is this tattoo in Eden Park.
Yes.
That is going to Brisbane first, then comes to Auckland. 2 shows. It was a Thursday and a Saturday. I saw, I was interested. I thought I'll have a look. Most expensive ticket, $440 for your A reserve or whatever. B reserve, $200 and something. I'm like, man, that's quite pricey for a couple of hour show. I mean, if you're into that kind of stuff, cool. Demand has been that strong, there's now a 3rd show.
Wow.
I saw it get pop up on the feed last night. I'm like, holy moly, there's people that are out there that are prepared to spend that much money. I don't know what the capacity at Eden Park is. I mean, it's not a huge stadium, 20,000, 30,000. I mean,
you might be looking at 50, mate.
Is it? Well, they can't fill it up for the Blues, so I didn't think it was that big.
Yeah. Last year they could, I think, once.
Yeah. Oh, maybe because they were winning. Don't know what happened. But anyway, I don't know what the capacity is and the number of tickets, but demand has just been massively strong from my point of view for what is quite a high price. But obviously there's people out there that have got the demand side of the equation that go, I can see value there at $200 or $400 I'm prepared to pay. And there's enough of those people that are going, yep, we'll go.
And that's exactly the point, right? Like, the people see the value. So when I went to America to the Kentucky Derby, I really had my eyes opened, because it really highlighted how differently they think in America around pricing. So, in New Zealand, we at the horse races, we're like, we should be able to go for free, and we should be able to take all our own booze and our food and a picnic and drive in, and we shouldn't have to pay. And what the fuck is wrong with the racing industry not allowing us to do that? And it's like, well, they might buy an ice cream when we're there, so then they make some money somehow, when we expect everything for nothing. The Kentucky Derby has been going 150 years, I believe, or longer. 152, I think they're coming up to. And it is like the race day to go to in America, and it's very historic. And so we start looking into tickets, and I'm like, okay, what's GA? I'm like, we don't want to go all the way over there and go GA. Next thing, we're, signing up for some sort of Sonny's Halo place, which is just basically like an open air top of a grandstand with a bit of meshing over the top, but all your drinks and whatnot are included. And I think for the 3 of us to go for 2 days, we paid like 8 rack New Zealand. So $8,000, bang.
For 3 people?
Yeah.
Wow.
But when I started looking at the tickets, and I'm just pulling some of them up now, you've got the stakes room, $8,000 US.
Wow,
This is US as well. You got the Ford First Turn Club Dining, $2,500. Club Sigh and Enclosure, $7,600. $2,200 for the Starting Gate Pavilion balcony. $3,900 for the Silks balcony and lodge. Home stretch lounge and terrace, like a booth, but right on where the horses go past. $5,000. And it just goes.
I thought you lads would be onto that Silks one.
Well, interestingly, a guy reached out to me and said, hey, mate, like, if you want me to tee you up a private suite, if you've got enough of you, all good. And I was like, oh, there's only 3 of us. I'm like, good, mate. Minimum's 20, because it's $100,000 sort of starting point.
Wow.
And I was like, and they're like, we can get you a deal
US.
too. So that's, I was like, oh, hey, thanks for that, mate.
Yeah.
But what I learned when I went to the States is that because there's so much wealth, what they do is they just know, well, we'll put offers into the market and there'll be somebody that will want to pay it. So I can't make sense of buying a $100,000 US box.
But there's someone out there.
Exactly. And then what I've noticed too is when they market different events and stuff, they'll have a general event ticket that will cater to the masses, and then they'll have another tier. So I went to a conference, and then it's like, right, if you want to be even closer, and then you want the private dining experience as well, that's 20 grand over the year, over the few days. And I was speaking to these people, been like, hey, how do you make sense of paying that much to come to this conference when you could have sat back there and paid $1,000? And they looked at me like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like they were blown away that I was thinking like that, but that's such a Kiwi way to think, right? Like, well, I'm paying 20 times less and I sit back here. And a couple of them were like, yeah, but I get to network with people where I'm going to do heaps of business with, so I can't be at the back. I need to be up the front. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, that makes a lot of sense. But
it'll pay for itself.
then I saw another offer where it's like, okay, well, you can pay $100,000 and we like personally pick you up off of the runway. And
from your private jet.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. 100 rat US. So they don't really market the 100. They just they market the tickets, and then they're like, oh, but we also have this.
The other stuff.
And the theory is that there'll be somebody that will be looking at these going, I don't want those offerings. Like, I don't want these Kentucky Derby offerings. I want to be in a suite. Okay, so the suites you actually have to personally inquire for, and they've kind of like weed out like, nah, we don't want you in there. Your reasoning's not good enough. And so then it drives the price up even more.
Wow, a bit of an elitist club.
Yeah, but it just shows that, like, to them, they know, well, if they don't put those offers into the market and back themselves that people will pay for that, well, then maybe they just, they don't make anywhere near that profit.
They don't understand enough of their own market dynamics to go, hey, look, and they're prepared to test to go, we might get a no, and then if it's coming up 3-4 weeks and they've got a couple of these suites unsold, then they might be doing some backroom deals of going, well, it was 100 grand, but for you, Luke, because you're a top-class bloke, we'll do it for 30. And they'll still be making money, but they just need to make sure that the room is filled up. The other tactic I think that is often overlooked, and I'm surprised more people don't tap into it, and it got me thinking off the back of the latest podcast that we did around the poor performance stats of New Zealand businesses, particularly in regards to technology, and we were ranked 11th out of 11 for online sales. And the classic upsell. I mean, you go into Foot Locker or Hannah's or the number one shoe warehouse and you're buying those latest pair of leather shoes, they're going to be saying, hey, you're going to want to protect those bad boys. Here's the blooming polish. Here's the waterproof protector that you need to get to make sure that they're going to last not 5 years, but 10 years. The upsell, the margin on those products that they're upselling you is going to be phenomenal when you're shopping online. And I can think of a number of our clients that have got online presence. You go through the checkout process and it's just like, oh, by the way, you've got this. Here's our top 3 things that people always buy. Woolworths online, you're going and doing your shopping. Oh, well, you've got these things. How about doing this? Uber Eats, relentless with it. And they do it at least twice, I think, in the order process. Go to do this thing. Right, you add it to your basket. Oh, do you want to add this on? Right, you're going through the checkout process. Oh, you've got this. Do you want to do it? No, it's actually 3 times because you've done your order and it's just like, oh, by the way, you can now bolt on something else for no extra delivery fee. And it's just like, wow, you guys just want to cream every single last dollar out of me through the whole process.
Yep.
And I think if there's such a low uptake of businesses in the online marketplace in New Zealand, then there's a massive lift still to do of the people that have got websites to actually make them a better experience for people to be able to shop online in the first place, as well as upsell.
Yeah, having a bump offer. So basically once you purchase it, it's bumping you into the next tier. Subway, would you like a drink or cookie? Cookies or drinks. I went for a massage yesterday, mate.
Oh.
The back's feeling a bit tight.
Oh,
so,
yeah, nice.
Got that right rubbed down.
Yeah.
And they were like hell-bent on me. Oh, it's still really tight. You should come back next week.
Yes.
Like, let's find a time now.
Good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and we want you to have the same masseuse. So, like, let's book now. I'm like, whoa, man. I was being hustled, but I appreciate it. Same with a chiropractor when I go there. They don't, like, the desk is about, like, I don't know, like a meter from
That's
the
close.
door. And it's basically like you can't go out the door without them be like, oh, hey, like we're booking your next consultation.
Next one, yeah.
So they're trying to like keep you there. So it's the old, book a meeting from a meeting, but something that one of our landscaping clients said recently was go and revisit your clients. So he goes and revisits all his old clients, and inevitably, like some of them want something else done. So then, you're not then having to go and redo new marketing to get new people. So you're making more from the customers that you already have, which is creating more margin.
The other thing that I would suggest, it doesn't matter whether you're service-based or product-based, but definitely where you've got a team that are interacting with customers or potential customers, I get a sense that in New Zealand there's a real lack of caring and creating an experience. Now, I was looking for an electrician, and I got a recommendation from somebody for a Sparky, and I found the Sparky's website, sent them a message on a Sunday. When do you think the Sparky got in touch with me?
Oh, mate, you would have been too busy, Thursday the next week.
It was Wednesday the same week. And I thought for an industry that's tied to the construction sector that's hungry for work, purportedly, you'd be like, Monday morning, I've got a lead, somebody's wants something done, I'll at least call them or reply back to them and lock in a time. And the person finally called me, so, oh, we've been emailing you and it's been bouncing back. And I felt like saying, and the emails bouncing back didn't make you think, I'll call on Monday when you were sending the emails in the first place?
Yeah.
It just and then they turn up, and then they turn up late.
Oh. And because you work with so many business owners, you're like, red flag, another one, and you're like, there's standards,
100%.
There's values, what else is going to happen through this process?
If that's how you show up and I haven't even spent $1 with you, what's the quality of your work going to be like? What's the experience going to be like when I am parting ways with $1? Similar thing, again, I bring it up, I did it on a recent podcast, Smith & Coe's. I have only been in there a handful of occasions and every experience was poor.
Yeah.
It felt like the culture in there was you were not welcome in there unless you were of a particular type of person dressed in a particular way. They didn't go out of their way.
So how did you not fit in?
Mate, I tell you what, I mean, this is all hired.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, just for the podcast, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm out of here, I've got to go and get this dry clean, take it back and stick on my T-shirt, my shorts and my Crocs.
Crocs, nice.
But I think that it's a stuffy environment there that doesn't make you feel welcome. And you do that to enough people aren't ultimately going to turn up. And you're going to have no customers. You ain't going to be selling shit. And then all of a sudden you're having a closing down sale.
Ouch. Simple one, back cost. So that's a bit of a construction term, but actually
naughty.
Go back and work out, okay, if you sold an item or a service, what did it cost you to do that? And therefore, what was your margin? So take your total sales and then minus all of the cost off of it and then find out what your true profitability was from doing that. And the amount of people, especially in construction or just different service-based businesses where we speak to them and say like, oh, have you gone back and done that? They're like, oh, no, we haven't done that. And you think, well, profit and loss is going to be a blended margin of all of the offerings that you do. Do you not think it's worth going back, like Phil said at the top of this, and working through some of your main purchased items and jobs and whatnot and work out, okay, what's my true cost of that? In the construction space these days, there's so many people that you can outsource your pricing to. If I were in construction, I would be getting my jobs that I'm pricing quite regularly, I'd be getting them reviewed by somebody else to find out, hey, how would you have done this? How would you have priced this? To find out, and I would look at that as an investment. I wouldn't like necessarily be doing it to see, okay, how are they going to price this job? Then I don't need to do it. I'd be testing my thinking against theirs. And even, in our industry, we'll go around and look at what other accountants are offering and talk to different people and find out, okay, like what are they charging for that?
Yeah.
What value did you get out of it? How do you make sense of paying that? And often a lot of the times in our space, we're a lot more expensive or our services cost more than other people because we offer a completely different level of service. So what that means is that we have to be able to explain that value to people and actually deliver on it. Otherwise, people will choose competitors. So we then focus on doing work that we know that we can execute to a really high standard and get people results so that they know, well, I didn't even spend any money with them. I invested it and I've already got it back.
Yeah, smart. The other thing to think about would be the input side of the equation. So your direct costs and any labor, and going, right, how can we squeeze more out of this? Can we go to our suppliers and negotiate better terms? Can we get better terms not only on price but payment? Can we stretch it out? That's going to stretch our cash flow so that we can make better use of our cash in the meantime. Putting it to work would, in theory, make us more profitable. Can we find ways to be more efficient by implementing better technology? We've just had the investment boost. You might be doing something an old-fashioned way and it's the way it's always been done. And you go, well, I've been reluctant to invest in this 200,000 or 300,000 piece of machinery. We've now got an incentive to do that. If that incentive is going, right, it's $200,000, there's a tax benefit to it. You've previously had 5 people in your business that have been on the tools. By getting this piece of machinery, we only now need 2. That machine's going to pay for itself in a pretty short period of time when you don't need to be having those additional 3 people. But I get a lot of business owners are like, oh, but those are those 3 people. Oh, I'm attached to them. What am I going to do? I was like, well, that's just how business evolves.
Yeah.
And it's the unfortunate reality. At the end of the day, you're going to want to be profitable because somebody else will catch up and overtake you with that piece of machinery, and they'll be able to do what you're doing at a much bigger scale, much faster pace, better priced, and you'll just get chewed up and spat out because you've wanted to protect people.
I think a good one from the marketing space is to find your buyer. So a lot of us, I think we're really scared that people are going to say no. But realistically, you'd be lucky if 3% of your current databases are actually ready right now to buy what it is that you have got. But that's where you need to understand that people buy how they feel. So as an example, if Phil puts his arms back on the table, you'll notice that he's probably got about 10 racks sitting on his wrist. But I don't. And Phil did not buy that watch to tell the time. I can guarantee you that.
Well, it tells the time quite well.
Yeah, is it accurate?
Yeah.
But he buys that watch to make himself feel a certain way, to be a certain type of person.
Yeah.
And that's how marketing
Call
works.
it for what it is, a wanker.
Surely that wasn't it. But this is why people have expensive clothing. My Burberry hoodie, for example.
Yes.
It's just as good. The quality, my AS colour hoodie is probably on par with it. My Burberry one is probably, but I'll tell you what, every time I spill something on my Burberry hoodie, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's expensive. But when I do it on my AS black, I'm like, that'd be right. I won't even need to wash it. I can't see it on the black. So it's the same. Like we have clients roll in and they'll have tens of thousands stacked on their wrist. And then you got someone that's just like, oh, that's a waste of money. You'll have someone who's got the latest iPhone and they're like, I need to have that. Someone else will be like, nah, my dad rocks the 4. My dad said to me the other day, oh shit, mate, I was cleaning out your old iPhone docks the other day. Like crazy to think that you don't even use those anymore.
Yeah,
wow. It would be like, oh, you're pretty cool at your household if you could put your iPod or thing on the dock and play the music.
Yep.
So that's just how the world works. So you've got to think, okay, with whatever it is that you offer, whether it's a good or a service, why is your customer buying it? What is it that they're trying to feel? How do they want to feel on the other side of that? Who are they trying to become? And look at Ford with Rangers. They've become very successful at encouraging, I think their slogan is New Zealand drives a Ranger.
Yeah.
And, it's almost like, oh, if you're not driving a Ranger and you're one
not
of
part of the club, you're not cool.
Yeah, you're like, oh, you're sort of in the inferior Navara thing, or you've got a tow rag, or you've got a bloody, or a leaf, or,
Yeah.
You're not even a New Zealander, because New Zealanders drive a Ranger. But
the
funny thing is, often when they talk about Rangers, this is how, blinded we are. The advertisements are actually bloody Australian advertisements in the Australian outback, and they run them here in New Zealand, being like, oh, New Zealanders drive a Ranger. It's like, mate, that's not even filmed here.
Yeah, 100%.
But we're still like, I better get a Ranger.
Got to get a Ranger.
So people are buying a Ranger to feel a certain way. And they could get from A to B in something else. I was going to say fuckwits, driving Teslas to feel a certain way.
No, surely not.
Like myself, and some people are riding bikes.
Yes.
To be a certain way and to feel a certain way. So you've got to tap into...
Don't get me started on the cyclists.
Yeah, on the human psyche of your customer.
Yeah. The other thing that I've noted down here is a focus on wastage and rework. I think that kind of stuff can creep in, and where we were talking about an investment in technology and how we're incentivized to do that through some new tax rules, it always pays to continue to invest in your team members, systems and processes to make sure that standards are still being maintained, because at the end of the day, if they don't and stuff starts and slip and you take your eye off the ball because you're off doing something else and you're trusting your team that they're going to be doing things right, then sloppy habits will sneak through. There's wastage, there's rework that needs to be done, and that all comes at a cost. And it's going to pay for itself if you invest in your people. And it's the same with that in-person experience, and we shared those examples before. That can be prevented by investing in your people.
I was speaking to someone in the solar space recently, and they were showing me how they show a client basically how you recoup your investment into solar. So it's not the solar costs you money. It's basically like, okay, you end up returning power back into the grid, and here's the exact math on where you recover your spend on solar, and then everything's free on top of that. But eventually a great upsell is to go back and say, hey, you need to clean those. Because you're not actually, they're not as efficient because they now got dirt and rain on them. And then you've got to go up there and clean them for them and charge them a bit of a service and a maintenance fee. So you're bolting on extra margin as you go.
Nice.
Yeah. The example that I often use in construction, mate, is that once I had a small leak in the roof. And I think what tradies are really bad at is telling you everything's easy. And I think we can learn from this. They come around and be like, oh, yeah, mate, piece of piss to fix that. Need a bit of bloody bog. It'll take me 15 minutes. Now, when you're an accountant with hands like this and doesn't know what that means, how long it's going to take, you got to stop and you got to say, oh, okay, how long's that hole been there for? Oh, mate, I haven't done anything about it for 3 months. Like, oh, shit. And think about this with a dentist as well. They do a similar thing. Like, oh, okay, well, if we don't address it, we're going to have a bit of an issue. Hey, here's what that could lead to. So as an example, mate, what's this carpet worth? Oh, I don't know, mate, maybe like $5 or $6 grand. Like, oh, okay, you got insurance for that? Yeah, pretty sure it would be covered by insurance. Okay, you wouldn't want to ruin your carpet, eh? So there's nothing sort of leaking out of there. Now, you got those cords quite close to that where the water could potentially drip through there too. What's that TV worth? Oh, 2.5 from Harvey Norman. It's on Afterpay, actually. You're like, oh, shit, okay. Well, so you're pointing out why it's valuable for them to fix the hole rather than be like, yeah, mate, piece of piss, that won't take us long. And that's a bit different to someone coming in muddy boots, not taking them off, walking through your carpet and being like, yeah, mate, we can fix that for you, and leaving a mess behind. So for all of us as business owners, it's up to us to identify who our client is and what their pain points are, and then what they would be willing to pay for. So do you think if there is a potential leak in a household and it's worth $10 million versus a household that's worth $200,000, who's going to value having the leak fixed more? But the job might be the exact same thing.
Totally.
Well, probably the one that's in the $10 million home, because the risk of them not fixing it is even higher. And it's the same, as I said before, with dentists. They'll often highlight, well, if you don't address this, like, here's what could end up happening. And so then you're sort of like, oh, shit, I'm playing this Russian roulette with, like, how long do I let my teeth rot or whatever? I'm going to have to address this at some stage. Otherwise, it's going to cost me more down the track.
The thing that I was thinking of there as you're sharing that was around, like, really getting to know your customer and play to their ego. And I think sometimes it can be appropriate to go, hey, look, I'm coming in and I'm looking at product A, and you get to know your customer and you go, gee, I can see that you're interested in product A, Luke. But from what you've shared with me, and I can see that you're a man of fashion with the AS Burberry mix going on, the collab, you're a man of style. So I would suggest rather than product A, a lot of guys that I've seen like you in the past go for product B. And product B is similar, but it costs more. Only a little bit more, but it's got a shitload more margin in it because you're a sharp salesman. And I think there's a lot to be said for taking that interest in your customer, going that little bit extra and doing the sales talk to them and pushing the buttons that play to their ego and go, hey, look, Phil, you've got this watch. Yeah, that's a great watch, but, you know, that's the smaller one. If you spent just that little bit more, like, you're going to be looking a whole lot blingier, and it's just that small step up. How about we could do a deal for you? And you're just playing to the ego of that person to go, you know what? Yeah, you got me.
Yeah.
Because it's just those internal feelings to go, yeah, I already knew that I was going to commit to buying something. what can I sell them instead that's going to be a slightly better product that's going to have a stack load more margin baked into it?
I think sometimes, what I do to get inquisitive is when I wander around business, I'll look at stores and have a look at what they're selling. And I think, okay, how do they make sense of that? So for example, every time I walk past a Hannah's, I basically know they'll probably have a sale saying your second pair is half price.
Yes.
But did you go there for 2 pairs of shoes? Probably not. But then you're like, fuck, I'm already paying $400 for this pair, or $300 or $200.
Yep.
Oh man, that seems so cheap to get another pair for $100.
Yep.
And now you become a $300 buyer rather than a $200 buyer.
Spot on.
Same thing with sunglasses. I got fleeced the other day.
Another pair?
I haven't had any new ones for some time.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but I did the old 2 and get the second one.
Right.
Yeah. But the pair that I liked were cheap. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, you're kind of picking a cheaper pair, so you sort of miss out on the real benefit of the discount because you can't use it on the high value one.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, oh, I do actually really like those ones. So I end up buying 2 pairs. Now I got 2 pairs of sunglasses. Do I need 2 pairs of sunglasses? No, I've already got a pair.
Yeah. Are they
Now I got
Burberry?
3. No, they're not Burberry. Yeah. So I got my Prada ones, so I'm going to give those away and be a good citizen.
Yeah.
Tad's like, you could sell those. I'm like,
What happened
I
to
know.
the Gucci's?
The Gucci's. Don't know if I've got any Gucci sunglasses.
You used to have the Gucci green ones.
Oh, sorry, yeah, those ones. Yeah, what did I call them? Prada. See, I don't even know. So I get this like Ray-Ban pair, and I'm like, I actually like these more than the expensive pair. And I'm like, I better start wearing the expensive pair. But I've just like, bang, fallen in the trap of their marketing.
Yeah.
But like I walk past and I think, they can afford that retail store. They had 2 people working. They were hustling me well. Like, I think this shape would suit you really well. They were bantering with each other. What about this? This one's got a matte finish. Oh, okay, well, what about this brand? And I'm like, man, all these pairs you're bringing me, they're like $800, $900 glasses.
Wow.
I'm like, shit, man.
That's cheap.
They're trying to they're trying to work out, okay, what's this? Who is this guy? Like, what's this sort of, like, is he going to pay for this? And I'm like, if I'm going like, oh shit, they're $900, they probably know, okay, don't keep bringing in the 900s.
Yeah.
Then I started stepping it down. I didn't get anything at that sort of end, but they've got they obviously have a process that they take people through.
Yeah.
And before you know it, I'm walking out of there with 2 pairs of sunglasses. It's 6 o'clock at night. It's dark.
Wow.
I can't even use them. I'm like, man.
Niggly. And we're coming into winter and the sun's not even out.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I got
Hook,
2 pairs.
line, and sinker.
Yeah. There's Luke. We'll have him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Geez, how much margin did they bank off of you?
Well,
heaps.
That's also the point, right? So if they can afford to give me a second pair at half price, how much margin is in that already?
Yeah.
So clearly by doing that, they can offset the second one and still, make good margin across both pairs.
I would like, the thing that's floating around in my mind at the moment is I would love to understand or have visibility of what the margin is on a Big Mac burger in New Zealand. Just on an average price of a Big Mac alone, what it is on a Big Mac medium combo, a large combo, and then the double Big Mac combo. You can get 2 Big Macs, fries, and a drink. If you're really hungry, can't say I've done that since my uni days. But I would probably bet a fair lot of money that there'd be more margin in the double Big Mac offering than there would be in the single Big Mac offering. Yeah,
I reckon we could find that out. Surely somebody has got insights to the McDonald's and will be able to tell us what the Big Mac margin is.
Because they wouldn't offer it if there wasn't decent margin in it, or like similar or better. And I reckon it'd be a big seller because you look at it and you're doing the maths and you're like, it makes sense for me, much like with the sunglasses, to get 2 Big Macs rather than the 1. I mean, I'm hungry.
You feel twice as shit.
100%. Yeah. And McDonald's are laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're still here and they're buying up real estate with their profits by the seams.
Yep.
So there's plenty of margin in it. Anything else over there, mate?
I've ticked everything off of here. So I think we've shared some useful tactics that can pump some profit back into your business rather than just, we need to make more money, we'll increase our prices.
Yeah, the one C word that I'll insert that I reckon...
Love a C word.
Yeah, is fundamental in all of this is confidence. Our confident clients price well, they back themselves, they know their value, they have an ability to address objections, they know who their customer is, they go after them, they're not willing to discount, they're like, no, these are our prices, we're valuable, we'll back ourselves to find work elsewhere. If you don't like it, that's great, you can, the free market, help yourself. As soon as you start getting your confidence eroded with some no's or you're desperate or you're over leveraged, you need to make a bit more money, you need to do it quickly, something's happening in your personal life. As soon as that confidence starts going the wrong way and goes into your business, you can start unwinding good margin very quickly.
The last one that's just come to my mind, we were trying to combat inflation with not price increases, is shrinkflation. So classic with the Cadbury block of chocolate, gone from being 250 grams, 220, 200 maybe. I don't know. I don't buy Cadbury chocolate. But they still charge it for the same price. And they go, well, our input costs are going up. We'll just make what we're selling smaller. Some people go, yep, we'll let the market know. Other people will do it quietly and discreetly. And over years, your product, that whatever it is you're buying, you notice is getting smaller, but you're still paying the same price for it.
Mate, I went and got back in the day, you'd get a Memphis Meltdown that was a big treat in the Dannyvirk household.
That would be for Dannyvirk. Struth.
I might have had 2 of those in like a year max.
Yeah.
It would be, for a household to be able to afford those. And I went to the dairy the other day and I was like, I'm going to try this dairy milk caramello ice cream. And I swear, I'm like,
you're a sicko.
Is this a mini?
Did you have that after your Big Mac?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose this is probably what some people have experienced with dealing with Phil and I. They take the
wrapper off.
Yeah, like,
and they're disappointed.
Yeah. They meet us in person. They're like, is that it?
Yeah.
But anyway, this thing was tiny, and I was thinking, oh, where's all the marketing gone about like these big ice creams? It's basically now just like, oh, these are like luxurious and whatnot, and gold wrapping, and sort of, it feels really good. But the product inside of it, I'm like, where has it gone?
Teeny tiny, and did it taste?
It was tasty.
It was?
It was tasty.
It was caramel, did you say?
Nah, it was like, it had caramel swirls going through the ice cream.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Worth trying, ladies and gentlemen. This podcast is brought to you by Tip Top Cadbury.
Nice. Good shout out. Yeah, hashtag not sponsored.
No.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Not yet.
So the old shrinkflation can be a tactic. So if you've got the ability to be able to sell your product but skinny it down in some way, so as to lead the market without being deceptive about it, because we don't want to be deceitful, that can improve your gross profit because your input costs are significantly lower.
Yeah. That just reminds me of my final thing as well.
Yes.
Is that, like, there's a reason buy now, pay later and credit cards and whatnot are so popular, because people can't see themselves paying for the full amount, but they can over a time period. So sometimes, like we have some clients who refuse to use buy now, pay later, and they know that they're leaving money and margin on the table. And those customers that would use buy now, pay later are going to go and use a competitor of theirs. Where we have others who are like, I just like, business is business. I've got to do my thing. And so they know, okay, well, if this is what people want to use for their payment, it's not for me to discriminate against them, right? They're going to do that. So sometimes if you want to increase your margin, you simply offer a different payment plan, and it can actually be the thing to get more sales and therefore drive more profit, because you're getting sales at margin that you wouldn't have got otherwise. And you wasted marketing spend on them that you haven't been able to recover.
Spot on. It's a great tactic. I mean, we hate buy now, pay later on one hand, but absolutely love it on the other if it's going to get $1 in the door.
Yeah, and I think you look at gyms and we've talked about dentists before, they're all starting to go into like, okay, a monthly payment and subscriptions and whatnot. I think a lot of those things, if you looked at them in your bank account and you looked and thought, okay, if I had to pay the full amount up front, would you actually pay for it? You gotta make that decision. But if you get to break it down into 6 payments or 12 or whatever, then you make sense of it a lot easier. So maybe you can use that as a filter as to your own purchasing.
The classic one there would be telcos with the mobile phones. Jump onto a mobile phone plan and then you can get the phone interest-free over 24, 36,
48,
whatever it is. I mean, they wouldn't be offering it if there wasn't decent margin in the plan and margin in the phone. I mean, there just has to be.
Yeah, spot on. And they want you to stay with them, and I think you're sort of forced to get that discount. And if you leave, then you have to pay the phone back or the discount that they gave you on the phone.
Yeah, and they will have the data. Yet again, these businesses are making decisions based on data that once you're hooked up to a plan and you've got your phone, the chances of customers cancelling, they'll go, right, might be 2%, might be 5%, whatever it is. Like, that's immaterial in the overall scheme of things. So once they're in and they're paying monthly, sweet.
Yeah. Fascinating stuff. Profit Power, some simple strategies to maximize your margins. Take action.